Hi, I'm Theo, and these broadcasts are to support the blogs on nomorec.com's website as well as the online classes. In this episode, we want to cover how to get free email. This is the extended version. Welcome back to the No More C broadcast, brought to you by newbies.com. And I'm Dr. Theo with another video today. And in this episode, we want to discuss how to get free email using Gmail, Google Mail. In this episode, we wish to discuss how to set up a free email account using the popular service Gmail. We think this is one of the best options because the majority of the students and folks in our audience and students that I teach will most likely be using an Android phone. And Android is made by Google, and so it's most likely associated somehow with Android. And since you're already with Google, and so Google is usually one of the most popular free email services out there. I don't foresee it in the future disappearing. So I think this is a good option. Although, unfortunately, those of you who have been a part of the Google project of their free suite of services, and again, by doing this, let me say this first, by signing up with the Google account through Gmail, by doing this, you'll have access to all of Google's free services. But they have a bad history of many of their services they've canceled over time, and they've tried to reinvent the service through a whole new product, which you can switch to. But so far, they did make an attempt to try something different with email called the Google Inbox, and it didn't work. So they stuck with Gmail. But my students are going to need at least a single email in order to at least get a lot of the services in my videos that I talk about. You're going to need at least an email account to work with. And so this is necessary. So if you don't have an email account, you're going to want to get an email account. So start off, go to a browser and just simply type in gmail.com. Any browser, just click on that and it will take you to the main site, gmail.com. Okay, now depending on what country you're in, it's going to hopefully based on your location, it's going to give you an account that's going to be in that language. So here we go. We're looking at this, and I switched over to English. So if you're doing this in another country, it might be helpful because Google is going to take you to their web page for that country with the predominant language, and as at the bottom you can change, as I did real quick. I guess you didn't see it, but you can change the language to whatever you want. So I didn't have that in view, sorry, but you're going to want to go to Google's main account. Here's the English one, and you're going to want to click into this create account. Okay, or at the top, click in again. So I'll scroll down here maybe this time. Oh, it's not going to let me scroll. It's not in view. But at the very bottom of the page on the left side is a menu. And if you click on it, it'll pop up and let you choose whichever language you want that's available. And so I'm going to click on English because all the videos in English. I guess my view is cut off here. But so you want to create a Google account. So this gives you an account that will be, like I said, if you use an Android phone, any of Google's services. Google has so many services. In a previous video, we talked about why Faithlife, and Faithlife obviously is following the trends. Google is following the trends. Facebook's in there somewhere. Apple's in there. I think Apple started much of this when they came out with like the iPhone and whatnot, but they're reinventing themselves now. It's getting tricky because uh, they're doing a lot, okay, with offering services, and they're free, and then later on, slowly over time, they're starting to charge for those services. So you're on YouTube if you're watching this video, and YouTube is a Google product, and so it's a real easy way. You need to get some kind of email account so that you can get like the old system of getting some kind of communication through letters. It's just a way to get mail, to get letters, to get people to write something to you, send something to you. The most basic form of that on the internet is email. And so by doing this email account, then you often use these email accounts to, again, access all the Google products. And then as we stated in other videos, like the Faithlife account, you want to be able to access Faithlife, and so they're going to ask you for an email. So pretty much anywhere you go on the internet, they're going to ask you for an email. You need an email, and since this is the most popular one, it's the best one. So we're just going to cover some tips into that so that you can see that. So, but I guess I could maybe do this Zoom real quick. Okay, I'm going to zoom down. So here's that menu. So that menu, so you can see, so you can change the language if you want, is down here. So if it pops up in a foreign language that you cannot understand, just click down here in this part of your screen on the left side, that arrow, and switch to the language you can understand. Obviously, we're using English. That's the main language that most people understand. So we'll just kind of get there. So that shows you that aspect. Because Google is going to pick up on your location depending on where you might be located and go from there. All right, so you're just like we did with the video on the Faithlife account. And if you haven't seen that, then okay, here we go. You're going to need this to get a Faithlife account, and you need the Faithlife account to get Logos Bible software, again, to study the Bible free and to study classes. But just about anywhere you go on the internet, you're going to need this. So here we go. We're talking about creating a Google account, and that gives you access to all of Google's services, just like creating a Faithlife account gives you access to all Faithlife's accounts. So that's the trend. So you're going to need this. So you're going to have to type in your name, first name and last name. Then you have what you call a username, and this is very important. This username here, the second choice underneath first name, username, is basically what your identification is, your ID. So how people will contact you. So you need a unique name, one that's not chosen by anyone else, because you cannot choose a simple name that somebody else has chosen, because the email will go then to that person. Okay, so that's how you choose it. So you have to choose a username. Now, one of the things you want to think about when you choose a username, you want something that is going to be associated with you, so that people, when they think of you and they want to contact you, then they're going to think of this name and they're going to type that in to send you whatever they need to send you. So if you're taking classes and you need to submit assignments, you submit your assignment to your professor and you're using Gmail, then the professor is going to want to know who this email is from. And so, it needs to reflect something similar to who you are, perhaps. But this is your address. This is how people find you. So your email is going to be, whenever someone asks you, what is my email? So whatever you type in this column under username, that is your email. So if you type in, John Smith at gmail.com, that's what your address is. Your address is John Smith at gmail.com. So you have to type in a username that is quite unique to who you are. So obviously I've got username here. Well, that username isn't allowed. Try again. So you have to type in something that you want. And the people here, the AI that's behind Google, is going to scan that and see if it's available. So if it, they're going to scan this and see. So my name 123 is not allowed. So we need to type in something to choose. So you need to pick out the name that you want that identifies with you. So and it can be anything. And all you have to do is add numbers at the end of it if it's not going to work. So that usually works, and that's some of the suggestions they have for you. So anyway, that's important. So typing in that, and then you have here the next column is password. Now the two things are going to happen here: your password, and then you're going to have to retype it, because you have to be very careful. The username is not so much important. If you type in a capital letter, I don't think that matters. So, if you type in my name, okay, my name, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Because you just tell people my name at gmail.com and they're going to figure that out. Even, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the full stop period, that doesn't even matter. Okay. So you're just going to, I don't remember if they allow spaces nowadays or not. I can't remember. So just type in whatever you want for your username. So when you go to username, I was having a little difficulty with the other browser, so I switched browsers. All right. So when you go to username, again, we're at Google, gmail.com. We're creating a Google account. When you go to username, you can type in your name if you want. Okay. And then, whatever it's going to be. And then it says try another. So see, you can keep working with it until you find a unique name. So unique in the sense that it's only you. Okay. And again, that's already taken. So you can start adding numbers. Maybe that's going to work. Okay. You can use letters, numbers, and periods. Okay. So just come up with something. So type in your name, first name, last name, whatever your username is going to be. Now that is your email address. So it's unique name 1367 at gmail.com is then your email ID. And that's what you type in everywhere when it asks for your email. And then they'll send you an email here. So you have to come here to gmail.com, sign in, and it's going to be in that inbox. So you type in your name and you can add numbers behind it. Again, letters, numbers, and periods. Okay. Use a combination of those. And you can't use spaces and special characters. Okay. But then, as I was trying to say, and I had difficulty because of the other browser. Okay. So we have password here. Okay. Now, this is very important. You're going to type the password here in this box, and then you have to type it exactly here the same. They want to check and see that you type it exactly the same. You cannot mistype it. Here, I'm not so sure if, capital letters are that big of a deal. I don't think that's a difference. So there's not going to be someone else with this email address. Okay, that doesn't matter. Changing it to capital letters here. It does matter here. What you do is very important here. And you have to use 8 characters or more. You have to use letters with some numbers and some symbols. And you have to type it exactly here and exactly the same in the second box, because this is very important. You cannot lose this password. So you're making a new email address using Gmail. You do not want to forget whatever you choose here is your username. And that's usually something you don't forget. That's kind of like your phone number. You can get a different phone number. You can get a different Gmail address. You can get a different email address. This is like your phone number. Everybody, well, how do they get a hold of you? Well, they'll ask you, what's your phone number or what's your email? Now, you can get a different one. The problem is, you got to keep track of these things. So, and if you change emails, then you have to go to Faithlife, the makers of Logos, and you have to change it there and change it, at your school, change it everywhere. So this is a free email account that you need to remember what your username is. Now, this is extremely important. It's very, very, very important. You have to remember what your password is. Exactly, because changing capital letters, changing the numbers, all of that stuff, I think you can use spaces. You can use all kinds of things here. Whatever you type in this first box, you have to type identically in the second box, and you have to memorize it. You have to keep it somewhere so that you know. And you don't want it really, really simple, because then someone else can figure it out and they can hack into your account. So you don't want password. This is not capital PASSWORD 1 2 3. You don't want something like that. Oh, you couldn't see, so you can't even. Okay, show password. You don't want a password like that. Now, it's nice that they say don't show the password, because then if someone is looking over your shoulder, they cannot see. Now, they can see your email. They can see your name. If you're at a cyber cafe, someone's looking over your shoulder and you have show password, they're going to see your password, and then they can, steal your email address, and then you're in trouble, because then they'll change the password on you, and you may have, who knows what's connected. I mean, some people have bank accounts and different things attached to their email. So you want to be careful. So you want to keep this somewhere safe, but you don't want a simple password like this that someone can easily figure out. You got to be careful of using your children's names or your birthdays or anything that someone can find that information out and then figure out what your password is. So if you've seen any amount of movies about hackers, they discuss this. So you want to create a unique password, but something that you're going to remember. Okay, so maybe you have a favorite song. So Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. There's something like that. You can do a song and then, put some numbers with it. So, Mary had a little lamb, and I was in class 3 when I learned that. I was in the 3rd grade. So there you go. And just have to type it again. You just have to remember. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. 3. Now, these should be identical. Okay, I didn't look at the screen when I typed this. I just said it in my head. Okay, so I can hit the next button. Of course, I got to fill out the name. So you got to be careful there. Type in your name. So I can type that in. I can hit the next button, and I'm ready to go. And I just have to remember that my email is unique name 1367 at gmail.com. So you'd never want to forget this, because it's very hard to get it back if you lose it. So you want to write it down somewhere safe where people will not find it, that you keep safe or somehow, or you want to, again, keep it in your memory, something that you want to memorize. Okay, so you definitely want to do this. You don't want somebody hacking you. So put your name, put your first name, your last name, put your username, whatever you want there, something you're going to not forget. The username will be easier because you have to tell everybody. Like Faithlife's going to ask for it, so then you just give it. Anyone's going to ask you, what is my email? You're going to give it. My email is da-da-da-da-da. So your school might ask, or whatever, depending on what, Same thing with, now the password is tricky sometimes, because people will tend to forget their passwords if you never log into your email account. Now, if you're logging into your email account all the time at cyber cafes and stuff, or using other people's computers, then you're going to type it in all the time. And if you type it in regularly, you're going to memorize it. So in the old days, when we had the old phones, if you called someone on a regular basis, you often remembered what their phone number was because you called them once a week or something. So because you're doing it so often, you're constantly doing it, you would remember it. Where nowadays with these smartphones, you're just clicking on a photo and you have no idea what their number is. You have no idea what their email is. So, you may forget what your email is. But this is information that you want to keep because this is very important. So that the same thing when you sign up for like a Faithlife account or some of these other places, I'm going to take you in these videos, I'm taking you to places where you can get free resources online. And just like Faithlife, they're going to ask you for your email account. So you need to be able to give them your email account. And oftentimes what they're going to do is they're going to ask you for your email account to access their services. And then they're going to send you an email, and you have to open your email account and you have to verify that you actually type the right email address, because you could mistype it. You could type in unique name 1366 by mistake on the website, and that's your only email address, and they'll send an email to unique name 1366, and you won't answer it. So a lot of times these websites will send you an email and ask you to confirm your email. So you open up your email, you come to gmail.com, instead of creating an account, you see this down here, sign in. You sign in, typing in your username and your password. You don't want to tell anybody your password. You don't want anybody to know your password. Okay? You want to keep it secret. You don't want hackers to know it. And then these companies will send you an email, or your school will send you an email. If you teach there, students might send you an email, whatever. So if you do that, they're going to send you an email, and they're going to ask you to confirm that email. So you want to make sure that you have something that you remember. So first off, that's the problem with Gmail. There's so many people out there with Gmail accounts. You got to come up with a unique name that is going to work. And then you have to come up with a password that you're never going to forget, but that no one else is going to figure out easily, because they can hack it and then they can change it, and then you lose control of everything. So that if anything ever happens to your Faithlife account, and by chance you forget that password to the Faithlife account, you haven't lost it entirely. You can go to customer service with Faithlife and ask them, or there's a place often in all of these websites, there's usually a place, even in Gmail, if you forget your password, to click on the forget your password option. The problem with Gmail is if you click on the forget your password option, then how are they going to get you to remember? So there's a couple things you want to remember here. All right. You want to sign up for a Gmail account, put your name, remember what your username is, because you have to tell everybody that. Remember what your password is. Write it down somewhere. Keep it safe where no one else is going to find it. Okay. And you want to keep track of the date when you first open that email account. You want to keep track of that. Okay. When did I open this email account? Because that's one of the questions they're going to ask you. If you ever forget the password, or if you ever get hacked, they're going to ask you, well, when did you sign up for this Gmail account? And then when you hit the next button, okay, so here we go. They're going to ask you your phone number. So you have to pick the country that you're in, and then you have to verify your phone number. Okay. And then they're going to ask you, like your date of birth, whether you're male or female, and they're going to continue asking you different bits of information that they need so that they can verify. So you give them your phone number. They're going to send you a text message with a code, and you got to type in that 6-digit code here. And then they're going to ask you, more information, whether you're male or female, or when your birthday is, or different things like that, and take you through the process. And then you're going to be able to open your email box, and you're going to be able to see the emails. So I'm not going to go through the full process here. I'm not going to type in my phone number here. So you type in your phone number. You've got to choose which country, choose your flag, wherever you're at. Type in your phone number. Then answer the additional questions they're going to ask you. And maybe you have another account. So there's Yahoo Mail has theirs. So at yahoo.com, you can set up. That's old, though. That may go away. I don't know what's happening with Yahoo. They got into lots of trouble because they're hacked so many times. People kind of left them. There's Microsoft has their outlook.com. You can set up another email there. And if you have two emails, then you can use, one of those emails as a backup. So Google might ask you for a backup email account. So if you set up another account doing the same thing here, I guess we could do that. So let's go over here. Let's go to outlook.com. I believe that's where you go. And you can sign in, or you can try create a free account. And you can do the same thing here and create an account. So you're doing the same basic steps. They want to know what is going to be your unique name, 1367, and Outlook maybe. Okay, so, and then they have choices. You can be Outlook or Hotmail. And next, and if it's available, then you create a password here and show. Okay, you choose whether you want to receive information or not. Then you can have an email account here also. And then when they ask you at Google for a backup email account, what they might do is send you an email here to verify if you ever lose your Gmail account and you have a backup for security purposes. Now, both Microsoft and Google have authentication programs that you can install on your phone, as long as your phone doesn't break, the battery goes bad and cannot be recharged. And as long as your phone works and you have internet, you can have an application on there that will send you a notification anytime someone signs into your Google account, Google Authenticate program. So we could look at that real quick. Google Authenticate app. So a lot of your answers you just have to type in, and so there's the Google Authenticator. Okay, so you can download that on your phone, and if you have access to internet, you could tie that to your Google account and sign in with that. And Microsoft also has theirs. This is real simple. The world of the internet is so easy. Microsoft Authenticate app. Okay. Microsoft has their own. Okay. So you can get the authenticator from Microsoft and do the same thing. And whenever someone signs in on your email accounts, either one, okay, then you'll get a notification on this app. And then you can say, yes, that was me. And that can help make it secure. Okay, so you're going to want to do that. Okay, you're going to want to follow all these steps. And then you're going to have an email account, and you can have a backup email account so that one is backup to the other in case one gets hacked or lost, and you can use the other one to try to. Again, it can be difficult to get a Gmail account back. I'm not sure about Microsoft. They both are pretty big companies, and they both will work with you sometimes. But it can be quite difficult if you lose the password. So you don't want to lose the password. And obviously, if for some reason the password, you got to be careful, because if you type this crazy password, okay, show the password. So Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. And what did we say? 3. So you want to be able to type that on a phone. So you don't want it too complex. You want it complex enough that it's not easy to hack, but you don't want it too complex where it's so hard for you to type on a phone, because some of these symbols and things are hard to find on a keyboard on a phone. And again, depending on, if you're using a cyber cafe or you're using someone else's computer or using a phone, you got to be careful about the letters and symbols. And so, changing the language so, to sign in. So it can be very tricky if you can't get that phone to bring up Nepali language and your name is in Nepali, and then again, how can if I want to send you an email, it can't be in Nepali language because unless, if you create an email with Merrill name or something, then I have to know how to spell it. So you kind of got to be careful on how you approach what name your email address is going to be and what password you're going to use. You have to be very careful of that. Okay. And obviously you want to be careful because you don't want to be singing Mary Had a Little Lamb while you're typing your password in every time, or somebody's going to figure out that's your password. So you have to do it quietly in your head, not out loud where someone can hear you and then they can figure out your password. So these are some tips and these are some ways you want to create, and it's probably best with each email and each account to have a different password. That's another thing people do wrong. You don't want to have the same password, okay, for a different email, or the same password in your Gmail as you have in your Faithlife account as you have in your Outlook mail account. You don't want the same password. So that's a big mistake everyone else makes too. So you don't want to do that. So you're going to have to come up with another song. You're going to, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Maybe you learned that in the second grade, class 2. So you definitely want to get a different email. You don't want to use the same or a password for each account. You don't want to use that. Now, there are password managers, and you can get and you can use those. So you can Google free password managers, and you can pick one of these password managers and it will keep track of all your passwords. Your browser might do that. If you own the computer, then your browser, and if you use the same browser on your phone as you use on your computer, and it's tied to, say you use Microsoft Edge and it's tied to your Microsoft Outlook, and you can set up that to remember all your passwords. So it makes it easier for you to remember them and sign in. All you have to do is be able to sign into that particular app and run those. But there's different password managers you can use. You can keep them in a book in your house somewhere secure, but you got to be careful. People would be able to then find that, and then they'd have access with that book. If they stole that book, they'd have access to every one of your accounts and all your passwords. And they have the book and you don't. So you don't remember all your passwords. And now they've stolen your book, and they have access to all your accounts. So you have to be careful of that. We live in crazy time and crazy world with crazy people. So you have to be very careful if someone would steal your book. So you can use a password manager and keep track of all your passwords. And I don't know, again, it's pretty simple, Most things are pretty simple. I mean, I just typed in free password manager and look, and then you can, go find videos. It's pretty simple. And then, they'll go through and they'll teach you how to use them, and they'll teach you how to sign up for them and what to do. So it's pretty simple. All you have to do is just type in here what you want, and, the internet's going to answer your question for you. Unfortunately, many of my students don't understand that. So type in what you want, free password manager, and you'll get ways and you can review and study on your own which one you like and which one you're going to use. You have the authenticator apps and different ways to secure your account with a way to authenticate that it's you. So, but set up your Gmail account, and set up your backup email account. Google and Microsoft are two of the largest companies, so they shouldn't go away anytime soon, and they should be pretty safe and fight against hackers, so you should be pretty safe. And one can be a backup for the other, and then you can have the authenticator apps, and then you can get your password manager and watch the videos on how to use those, and it'll sync across all your devices and keep all your passwords for you. With a password manager, it's a program that keeps all your passwords, and all you have to do is remember one single login information. So you log in with one username and one password. You remember that. Open that up, and it remembers, and it actually will create passwords for you. So you never remember what the passwords are. And you can change them really quick and easy inside that program, and then go and log into your account. And then with your account, change the password. Ask for a changed password, and the password manager will remember what your password was. And so all you have is one username to remember and one password. Go to the password manager, unlock it, open it up, and it will give you all that you need. So these are some tips that you can use to set yourself up. And inside the password manager, you can have your Faithlife account. All these free resources online, all these websites that are going to ask for your email or ask you to make an account, you can put them all in the password manager so that it's all there and it remembers everything. You can log in with them and you can have access to them. But it's all going to start, most of them are all going to start with asking you for your email account. Most of them are all going to, this is your address on the internet. So you're often going to have to start here. So hopefully I brought up some things that you need to think about and that you need to work with. Again, how to set up Gmail account. Okay. There you go. Setting up a Gmail account right there. Setting up Gmail account. It's all there. Click on one of these and it's going to tell you how to do it. So it's pretty simple. That's what's so exciting about the internet, and that's what's so thrilling. So it shouldn't be that hard. You just type it in and hey, you're there. So hopefully this video is going to help you, and you can set up your first Gmail account. If you don't already have one, you can set up your backup accounts and authentication apps and get you a password manager and keep all these accounts. And that way you're set to go on the internet, and all of these things that I'm trying to show you in these videos of how to do, everything I'm doing, you could just type in how to, and it's there available. But most people are not wanting to do that. I don't know why. I find it that they just don't. So I make these videos so that, but this is just how you do it, and set it up. And then, voila, you have these wonderful tools for you that are free. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and you might have learned something, and you can use this to keep track, set you up an email, then set you up your Faithlife account and all the accounts that will come afterwards. And from there, you can avail yourself of all the free information that's out there for you to study online. God bless you. Thank you very much, and God bless you for listening. Stay tuned for more episodes and videos to help you with your journey from nomorec.com.